So we've come down to the secretory phase, and the secretory phase is the part of the uterine cycle. So the changes that occurs in the secretory phase are obviously related to uterus. So secretory phase extends between 15th to 28th day of menstrual cycle, and between the day of ovulation and the day when menstruation of next cycle commences. So after ovulation, corpus luteum is developed in the ovary. It secretes large quantity of progesterone along with small quantities of estrogen. So estrogen is going to cause further proliferation of the cells in uterus, so the endometrium becomes more thick. And the progesterone causes further enlargement of endometrial stroma. So further growth of glands is going to happen. So under the influence of progesterone, the endometrial glands commence their secretory functions, and the changes occur in the endometrium before commencing the secretory function. So two things are going to happen over here: the enlargement of endometrial stroma and the growth of the glands. So we should now talk about the changes that are going to occur in the uterine phase. So the changes that occurs is that endometrial glands is going to be tortuous because of the increase in size, and the glands become more tortuous to get accommodated within the endometrium. So the size is going to be increased. So the cytoplasm of stromal cells are increased because of the deposition of glycogen and lipids. Well, after that, many new blood vessels appear within endometrial stroma, and these blood vessels also become tortuous. And the blood supply to endometrium is also going to be increased, and the thickness of endometrium is, guess what, going to be like 6 millimeter. So it was 1 millimeter when the menstrual cycle stopped, and after that, when it went to the proliferative phase, it was 3 to 4 millimeter, and now the thickness of our endometrium is 6 millimeter. So you need to remember that. So actually, secretory phase is the preparatory period during which the uterus is prepared for implantation of the ovum. So all these uterine changes during secretory phase occur due to the influence of estrogen and progesterone. So the estrogen is going to be responsible for the damaged endometrium and growth of the glands, and the progesterone is going to be responsible for further growth of these structures and secretory activity in the endometrium. So estrogen is going to act on the endometrium side, and progesterone is going to be responsible for the further growth. So if a fertilized ovum is planted during this phase, and if the implanted ovum starts developing into a fetus, then further changes occur in the uterus for the survival of developing fetus. And if the implanted ovum is unfertilized, or if pregnancy does not occur, menstruation occurs after this phase and a new cycle begins. So now we should talk about the regulation. So the secretory phase of uterine changes coincides with luteal phase of ovarian cycle under the influence of FSH and LH from the anterior pituitary. So the corpus luteum secretes large amount of progesterone and small amount of estrogen, and the progesterone is responsible for the endometrial changes along with estrogen during this phase. So what's going to happen to the progesterone? Progesterone is going to stimulate two things: the growth of endometrial glands and makes them more tortuous, and other thing it does is that the growth of blood vessels and makes them tortuous, both of them. So this is going to lead towards the increase of blood flow to the endometrium. And the other thing that it's going to do is the secretory activities of endometrial glands. Thus, during the secretory phase, the structure, blood flow, and secretory functions of uterus are influenced by estrogen and progesterone that is secreted by the corpus luteum. And the cycle goes on and on and on. So this was all about the regulation that we've just discussed inside the secretory phase. So we now just need to know about the changes that occur in cervix and vagina, because they're important too. So let's talk about them in the next bite.